Round 1.
Hello, and welcome to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. My name is Raylio Martinez, Steven Johnson, and I'll tell you what we got here for you, Steve. We're going to talk about, now that 2016 is gone, behind us, we're looking forward to a new year. Let's talk a little bit about what we can expect, what we predict in 2017. You know, it doesn't matter what's going to be good, what's going to be bad, what's boxing. You know, people out there for years have been saying boxing's dead, and it's you still read it on the internet, you know, because you know boxing is dead, it's going downhill, MMA's taken up, but in reality, boxing will never die. It's high. You're making big revenues. They're making big monies. That's why you got MMA fighters coming over to boxing, because you know they acknowledge the fact that you know the money's there, the excitement's there, and the combat fans out there really like to see the strategy behind boxing. You know, it's a sweet science. So let's start off. You got any ideas of what you think may happen in 2017, or what you would like to happen in 2017?
Yeah, well, first, just touching on that subject real quick. I think 2016 gave credence to a lot of fans of combat sports that maybe boxing was getting knocked down off its pedestal because of the lack of serious competitive fights that went on, and I think a lot of it has to do with pay-per-view. And as we acknowledged in our last segment, we think that pay-per-view now is going to be more highly scrutinized by Showtime, HBO, etc., for what they put their money into. The product is going to warrant.
They lost a lot of money on a couple of shows, and you know, advertising dollars and promotional dollars. And I'm not talking about a promoter. I'm talking about promotional, when you're promoting an event, which includes advertising. When you're putting the word out, the production costs, it's astronomical.
Yes.
You've got to put out the product that's going to bring the people, and they faltered in that area.
Well, let me move on from here and just say that I think that there's a couple of things that in 2017 I think are going to come to fruition. The number one, I think, is going to be that Terrence Bud Crawford is going to be acknowledged as the pound for pound best fighter in the world. I think that's going to happen because, as you were talking about earlier in our earlier segment, guys that are scared to fight each other,
Yep.
Terrence Crawford is not afraid to fight anybody.
Oh, he sure isn't.
The only thing that Team Crawford has to be careful of is they don't get lured into that thing of bigger money, you know, and jumping up against someone with a little more weight than him. He's taking his time so far. I think they know what they're doing. He's going to be okay. The next thing, like I talked about earlier, we've got Mike Reed from Waldorf, Maryland. I think he's got a real good shot at being a light welterweight world champion. Robert Brandt, you know, as a super middleweight champion. And then in the smaller weights, you know, somebody who got quiet in 2016, but he still got a chance to come back in 2017, is Gary Russell Jr. I would expect those guys to all make big waves, along with Felix Verdejo, the Puerto Rican kid, and Oscar Valdez.
I really like Oscar, and I think he's going to make a big move, because the door is wide open for Oscar. It's just going to be up to him to go in there and take it, because everyone, and I'm talking about the Mexican constituents in boxing, the ones that follow boxing, the ones that pay good money to watch boxing, they haven't had a Mexican icon for an awful long time. Oscar has the skills, he's got the excitement, he's got everything needed to walk right through that door and become that Mexican icon. I mean, Canelo faltered. You know, he's a default Mexican icon, where you know, Mexicans are going to watch their boxing regardless. You know, and if that's all they have, that's all they have. You know, so Oscar, I think you'll see him prosper quite a bit in 2017, along with the other guys you said. And then don't forget, you still got Sean Porter that's going to get in there and mix it up with anybody, and he's going to beat a lot of people and upset a lot of people. So
I think that 2017, like I said, for all of the nonsense and shenanigans we had in 2016, I think all those get swept under the rug, and we move forward. We're going to have these guys now that they understand that they've got to either shit or get off the pot. And I think it's going to happen.
You know what I think you're going to see happen in 2017, and my prediction, this will go into the line of prediction, is that you're going to see Al Heyman really come to life in 2017, because as you know, he started off big with Premier Champion Boxing, It was free TV, free to the public, and it came out big, which it should, because you got to make that impact. You got to make that impact, and you got to let people, boxing fans, know that you're here. It's free TV, CBS. I mean, it's just free to the public, which we like. He had money behind him. I think he started off with a bank of $500 million. So he was way above to where your Bob Arams, your Oscar De La Hoyas, they could not interfere with him because he just had the money behind him. But then it kind of tapered in because, you know, obviously you got to be careful and not get rid of that money. And then the competition on free boxing started to become questionable, and it kind of stabilized and kind of hurt. But I think my prediction for 2017 is Al Heyman is going to take advantage of the downsizing that we're going to see from HBO and Showtime, because these guys are big powerhouses, okay, and they're so used to controlling boxing, they're so used to controlling what the public sees on TV that they didn't do a very good job last year. As a matter of fact, they did a poorest job last year. So now they're going to be under the gun from corporate HBO or corporate Showtime to saying, hey, we're not going to waste any money and put the millions and millions and, you know, close to $1 billion in these events and not profit from it. So I think you're going to see that door opening for Al Heyman, where he doesn't have to go out and put the big fights on free TV. He just has to come out and put the competitive fights in.
Well, that's the obstacle that Al Heyman has in front of him, because the bar has been set this high for money that fighters were demanding. Okay, they're going to have to lower their bar. Okay, and in order for that bar to get lowered, it's going to have to be Oscar De La Hoya, Al Heyman, and Bob Arum are going to have to say, no, we're not giving you $1 million for this fight. You know, we're only going to give you $500,000 for fights that they've been given $1 million for, and the fighters have to get used to that in 2017.
Well, I think it's going to happen. I think the days are gone. They came and went of one fighter making $150 million like Floyd Mayweather, and just gobbling about the money. And I think you're going to see now, starting in 2017, the wealth being spread out, because there's a lot of good fighters out there that never get the chance nor the opportunity to become household names.
Well,
I think you're going to see that. I think Al Heyman's in a position to do that. So we'll see, but that would be a prediction of mine.
Okay, let me touch real quickly on the status of women in boxing. In 2017, I think, you know, we've had some names, some things that have gone on this year. You know, you had Clarissa Shields, the Olympic gold medalist, 2 times Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
Clarissa came out and she turned pro, but I don't think she's been signed yet by anyone. Marlon Esparza, who was your 2012 bronze medalist at the Olympics, she's come out and she signed with Oscar De La Hoya. Katie Taylor from Ireland. I think Katie signed with, I'm not sure, but it might be K2 Promotions. I'm not sure, but she signed with somebody.
But she's out there, yep.
But my thing with them is, who are they going to fight? Okay, that's going to really get them promote women's boxing as a whole. Women's boxing, you know, radio, to me, they need, first of all, the women need to get more behind their own women. One of the things that we've had to deal with is trying to promote women boxing on our own shows, and nobody cares. We haven't got a following of women to follow anything that we do. It seems like every woman has her own following. When she finds another woman, they fight, but then there's no mingling of and say, hey, well, this girl beat our girl, let's follow her. No, it doesn't happen like that. And until that happens, you know, the fan base for him is on each individual woman.
You know, that's tough. That's a tough subject, and not, you know, we've talked about that in the past. We talked about that before. What does women boxing have to do to be competitive? Not so much competitive as far as in the ring, but competitive with the male counterparts, to grab some of that national exposure and worldwide exposure, and that they need for the public to accept them. And I mean,
well, what do they have to do?
Well, I think they need to stop being part or trying to become an equal to the men's, and they got to start their own women's type league. Now I know the WBC has their women's this and their women's that, but they're not going to put the money into a women's thing, because the women's boxing doesn't generate the revenue today as the men do. So they have to acknowledge that. So I think what has to happen is they have to go ahead and they have to go ahead and do their own thing. What I'm saying
It's too much money.
Well, but they have to understand that the money's not going to be there. That they're not going to make the the $5 to $10 million about. So what's wrong with the $1 million or the $500,000?
How about 200,000
or 200,000? I mean, that's what they have to come to realize is they started and built it up. And like you say, there's always been no unity in women's boxing. Women boxers that get up to where they have some kind of a name or something, they hate and they don't support other female boxers. And
you know what that is? And I will have to agree with you on that. It's like every woman, as she'll tell you, I'm creating my own brand. I'm promoting myself. And if you're promoting yourself, everyone else in the sport has been left behind. So they do have some issues they have to deal with. I think one of the things that happened, if you remember in 2016, was Lou DiBella has been very supportive, and he has two girls, Amanda and Cindy Serrano, up there in New York. He's actually had them on fight cards, and they've got seemingly a good following. And then Lou DiBella comes up and says, "We're not going to be able to do that anymore because of rules. There was some kind of a rule change that went down that was affecting."
Well, that was in New York,
in New York,
in New York,
And so it's just. They keep having these little hurdles, but women have to unite. That's the bottom line. That's the
word I was looking for. They have to unite as themselves,
as
women.
They have to unite. They have to say. They have to come out publicly and say, "Guess what, Oscar De La Hoya and Bob Arum, we're not going to support any of your shows if you're not going to have a woman on the show." That's all. That's what they can
think
do.
about it. If I had a bunch of women in my stable, which were decent, competitive women, right now I would take the opportunity to get a hold of an Al Heyman and say, "Listen, you got free TV. We want to bring women's boxing in here. So good. You don't have to pay us $1 million. Give us $100,000. And we'll just continue to be on your shows and promote the women's boxing."
And when that happens, you have to, because that will be the first fight up on the show. Okay.
Yeah.
Be honest, it will be the first fight, but you have to show that arena is half full of women coming out to support the women's show. Women on the show.
You have to
I
promote
guarantee
yourself.
you, at this point right now, that won't happen.
But you have to promote yourself. And that's the problem that Clarissa Shields, we talked about it before, and I know we kind of went over, but Clarissa Shields turned professional simply because she wanted to say she's going to turn professional, because in my opinion, this is only my opinion, it was the wrong time for her to turn professional. So she's got a big name. She's won the gold for the United States. Twice. So now she turned professional. Now she's professional. Okay, she can't go backwards. Now she's
that's right.
I don't even want to get into the AIBA stuff. Okay,
that's right.
I want to get into that. We'll save that for another one. But as far as boxing the way it is now, there's no one out there that she's going to fight that's going to generate public interest.
Because there's no one out there. But there's no one that can beat her.
There's no one. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it was the wrong time. I mean, it was the wrong time to do that.
So would you have her stay with USA Boxing until what?
I would have had her go into one of them semi-pro things like APB or WSB and start to build up herself as well as other competition.
That ship has not sailed yet.
I know
we'll leave that for later.
But the question with AIBA, well, let's not even get on. We've gone way over our time. Okay, so Steve, we got good things to look forward in 2017.
Yes.
I think 2017 will be a breakout year for professional boxing. You got my man Earl Spence, which I'm really high on, because the man will fight anybody. Mm-hmm. And not only in his weight division, he don't have this catch weight thing where I can't fight over 154 pounds or I can't fight. But he will fight under his weight or over. Bring them all. I like that. You got him, you got the Charlo brothers, same mentality. You got the same mentality. So I think 2017 is going to be great. Them days of Bernard Hopkins, Andre Ward, Roy Jones Jr., they were good.
Manny Pacquiao, don't throw him in there.
All of them. Manny Pacquiao, Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're gone, okay? You guys can be a sidekick.
But you know what? On a good note, 2016 was a good year for Inside Boxing's Throwdown.
It
We
was.
appreciate you guys, watching us and hearing us give our opinions and our take on some of the things going on in boxing. And we look forward to seeing you into 2017.
Okay, and in leaving, we'll have some big news for Inside Boxing, our Throwdown, our promotion. At the beginning of the year. You're going to see some real good things coming out of Inside Boxing. Steve, we look forward to that. Our shows and some of the stuff that we're going to do, other promoter shows that will be on our network. Yes, we're going to bring out a network. We'll be out there for the world to see, general public, alongside HBO, Showtime, ESPN, CBS, all these guys. I'm really excited. Can't divulge anything right now, but honestly, 2017 is going to be a real good year.
Well, one thing we can divulge is that as part of you at insideboxing.com, my own blog, sj.insideboxing.com.
That's right.
I usually cover local fights action here in Colorado. So if you want
Yeah.
to check that out, you can on the radio.
Till our next show, keep them hands up.
Happy New Year. Keep them out, baby.